This is my next video. This one's gonna be the NBA playoffs in the Eastern Conference. It's gonna be the Milwaukee Bucks, who got the #1 seed in the East, and they're gonna be facing the Detroit Pistons. I can't even believe that the Pistons have even made the playoffs. Well, it is what it is, so I guess I gotta go ahead and do the video prediction. Hey, with all due respect, this is not going to be a long series. I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks got the #1 spot in the East for a reason. They've won 90% of their basketball games. This is the only team in the East that if they actually went to the NBA Finals, I could actually see, if not this NBA season, maybe in the next 2 NBA seasons, a future potential NBA Finals matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks and the Golden State Warriors, because this is the only team in the East that can contend with Stephen Curry and those Warriors, because they've played them in the season and they've beaten them in the season, and this is a team that I think is a force to be reckoned with, and I'm talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. These guys are bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, they can play offense, they can play defense, they can play all 4 quarters of a basketball game. If the game got sent into overtime, they're not going to buckle under pressure. You send the game into 2 overtimes, they're still going to be right there. You could even go as far as to send the game into 3 overtimes, and they're still going to be there. So these guys are battle tested. These guys have been to the playoffs, and they got the #1 spot when no one deemed this team to get #1. Everyone kept talking about, Miami Heats. Everyone kept talking about Toronto, Boston, but nobody mentioned Milwaukee, and that's a shock. When you don't mention teams in the NBA conversation at the round table, and these guys sneak up and take #1, I'd be paying very close attention to the Bucks from this point on. And they got #1. And these guys can win the first round. They showed in the past they can win first round matchups. And they're going to win this so easily because I predict a sweep. I don't even see this be a competitive series. I see they're going to win the first 2 games just because they're in Milwaukee. Detroit, I see if Detroit do win a game, it's probably just 1. And I'm not trying to pick on the bad boy Pistons so badly. It's just that you got the 8th spot. You barely made the playoffs. Nobody suspected Detroit even be here, and they're here. And when the first round starts, expect the first 2 games to be a blowout. I mean, I'm telling you, expect a blowout. Now, if Detroit could tie up the series 2-2, you would have to play all 4 quarters and play efficient-wise. And I still don't know how Detroit made it, but they did. And I think that's thanks to their defense and their good coaching. Now, I do believe that the series will end in probably 4 or 5 games. If Detroit could push it to 6 games, the series still ends with Milwaukee advancing from the first round to the second round, waiting to take on the winners of either Boston and Indiana or Toronto and whoever they're facing, because Philly is in the conversation, and I'll be getting to that next matchup very shortly. But I'm doing this matchup right now, and I strongly believe that Milwaukee's just gonna trample over Detroit. I don't think this is gonna be a competitive series at all. I see a sweep 4-0. If Detroit's lucky, they win 1 game. It ends in 5. If they could push it to 6, Milwaukee's still going to get out of the first round because they got #1. So, yeah, Milwaukee ain't really playing nobody. This is a walk in the park. So, I got Milwaukee taking it 4 games, a sweep. If Detroit wins, then we're looking at 5 games. And like I said, even if Detroit could push a 6th game, Milwaukee still wins. So, Milwaukee.